Welcome to my daily review. Today is Monday, June 9th. What a Monday it was. We're winding down earnings season here, so there's not as much news regards to earnings, but there was a lot of news and a lot of action, a lot going on in the market today. And you're looking at it, and I'll get to that in a minute. You're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq here, which was up 61 points, 0.31%, closed at 19,591. The volume, I don't pay attention to the volume. The uh, the buyers of those, or the traders, I should say, of those penny stocks were back today, so that always pumps up the volume on the Nasdaq. I have this here at the, you can see that green line there. That's this is an index you're trading at its, 5 EMA. So getting support there at the 5 last Thursday when it pulled back, Friday inside day, and it just continues its grind higher. So we're having some nice tailwinds from the index, and that bodes well for the market, even though we saw it bodes well for growth stocks. We saw rotation in the market today. I'm going to get to that in a minute. I just wanted to point out the Nasdaq is 9.7% above that 50, which is this red line, which is turning higher. And it's a 5.8% above this black line, which is a 200. You can see the 5 and the 21 just trending nicely as they've traded through the slower term or longer term moving averages, the 50 and the 200. And you can see it's just a tick above the 5 and 3.2% above the 21, which is this magenta line. So it's just grinding higher in this V-shaped recovery, which that was our expectation, and that's what's coming to fruition. It could change tomorrow. You have to be flexible and adaptable and nimble always in the stock market. But for today, this looks to be our thesis, and our expectations are coming to fruition. Anyway, I wanted to get to the SPY because the SPY, oops, I don't want to go to the SPY. I actually want to go to the S&P 500 index, not the exchange traded fund. This 6,000 number is just, it looks like it's going to be resistance until it's not, right? It's right there, 6,005 at close at today. It was up 5 points. 0.09%, volume a little lower. S&P doesn't have the penny stocks trading on it. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of flagging here or stalling or pausing at 6,000. And eventually, that 5, I have the 5 here. These indexes are trading with the 5. It's gonna, pull back maybe one day and bounce through there, or maybe it'll just tomorrow or the next day just decide to trade right through that 6,000 level. But for now, that 6,000 is a problem. It's causing some sort of resistance. I don't know how stiff the resistance will be, but it's definitely there. The IWM was up 0.69% today. The small caps did pretty well, and you can see the small caps have had this V-shaped rally, and they're starting to look a lot better. And I like a lot of the small cap names as opposed to the large cap, but I'm going to start today with the large cap because there was news. Apple at their WWDC Developers Conference, they failed to wow once again, down 1.2%. And it just seems like Apple's just, it's an old tired tech company with just, hanging on to its services and its old hardware that people have kind of gravitated to. It's an ecosystem that people like, but as far as innovation, AI, they seem to be lagging a little bit, and I'm being kind. Some of the other companies are running, circles around them. NVIDIA is certainly one here, and this one looks to be, shaping up, even though it's kind of been dead money for about a year now. Is 140 back in June of 24, and it's 142 in June of 25. So maybe this thing will break out. We're on breakout alert for NVIDIA, and it's trending with its 5, just like you want to see with these growth stocks that I've been tracking here in relative strength. And I'm not going to go through the relative strength stocks today. I'm going to do something a little different. I'll get there in a minute. Tesla, it got hammered since I don't know. There a spat with the CEO Elon Musk spat with the President Trump, and not good for Tesla stock. It did make it back above 300 today. It pulled back to its 50 and rallied back through 200. We'll see. It closed, yeah, 1% above the 200. But yeah, it's kind of a rough go for Tesla. But still, it's back above its 200, bounced off its 50, back over the 200, and back above that $300 level. Amazon is one that I had on the ready list, and that's what I wanted to go through today. Is the stocks? There's so many stocks that I have every weekend, like the last 3 or 4 or 5 weekends, that I cannot pare it down to 8 or 10 stocks. I have like 50 or 60 stocks at least that I try to get down to 25 or 30 and then narrow that down to like 8 or 10. And it's just really difficult. So I'm going to go through those 30 stocks, not the 60. I'm going to go through like 30 setups. But first, I wanted to just, mention that today we saw the rotation into the quantum computing, the nuclear stocks, the aerospace, smaller cap aerospace stocks. And this is IONQ had a nice day today, up 3%. The other one was a QUBT, another one in this group, up for nearly 5%. You can just creeping. You talk about, small cap. 2 billion market cap. Now it's just creeping. It traded above its five there. So yeah, I mean, that's what keeps the bull market alive, this rotation. And now we're seeing it into these different groups. I mentioned the nuclear groups, OKLO, this one started off today. Got to go to the, this is one that I noticed this morning. It pulled back here sharply this morning down, what, 48.76, and then just buyers all day long into the close. So OKLO looked fantastic. SMR, another one in this group, yeah, 2.5%. Trade bouncing off the five, not too shabby there. And then LEU, Centrus Energy, just surfing the five like Kelly Slater. So these stocks are very strong. And I mentioned the aerospace stocks, ASTS. Another one, I had this on the ready list today. I believe, I forget the 31.27 was my buy point. I guess that was, yeah, above Friday's high. This one popped nicely. That one looked good. So I'm kind of going through some of my ready list from the weekend. Rocket Lab, another one up 2.5%. Nice move. Aerospace and Defense, also JOBY. We've talked about this one. Nice pop, 14% in the ACHR. I had this on the ready list a while ago. It popped and pulled back to its 21. Now today, nice 10% move. So definitely a rotation in these smaller cap, more speculative names. And so they, that was just one day, but yeah, we saw the rotation. Like I said, that's what keeps the a bull market alive. Bitcoin had a nice day today. It was up, last time I checked, it was up above 108,000. And when I think of Bitcoin, I think of MicroStrategy because Popeye the Sailor Man, their CEO, he just keeps buying more Bitcoin and buying more Bitcoin. And eventually, I mean, if Bitcoin keeps rising, this stock is going to, benefit. It was up nearly 5% today. And for the adrenaline junkies, they could do the 2 times leverage of MSTX. This is up nearly 10% today. You can see it's just been kind of going sideways here. But yeah, nice move today for MSTX. And of course, Coinbase, which was the last group that went into the S&P 500, which I'm going to get to here in a minute. This is the last stock that it was included in the S&P back, I want to say May 19th, maybe it was. It popped nicely here, May 13th, and has done, pretty well since. It hasn't given up that gap. And with Bitcoin up, Coinbase goes up. But there's two stocks that really suffered from the S&P index not including any stocks. They didn't make any changes on for the June quarter. So we'll have to wait for another 3 months to see if Apple or Robinhood can get in. Now, Robinhood today, I got to change this, darn it. The moving averages, Robinhood pulled back to its 10 EMA, found support and bounced. This is textbook stuff. It didn't get into the S&P, so, some traders, adrenaline junkies who are just, day traders want to get rid of the stock. No reason to get rid of it. You can see here at the open, just sell, 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 and then buyers came in all day and it closed strong. So we'll see about a Robinhood tomorrow, 94% of the daily range. Yeah, it was only down, 2%, not bad for Robinhood. App 11 cannot say the same for that. It had a miserable session. It sliced its 10. Maybe it's going to take a trip to the 21. I don't know, down 8% just because it wasn't included. This has happened before with App 11 when it wasn't included, when the prior quarter, when I forget who got in, like Williams Sonoma. EXE Energy, I forget, but anyway, it doesn't matter. App 11 did not get in. Traders get disappointed and they just sell the stock. That's the way it goes. Not a reason to own a stock, by the way. I own App 11 due to the sales and earnings growth and not because it might be included in the S&P. That's really ridiculous, but that's the way it goes in the market. So, and my last bit that I wanted to get to before starting on my scan for stock setup and basis. This is why I'm so bullish, though, is because stocks are set up in basis. This is one that I had on my ready list today. This is CoreWeave. Once again, I gotta change this thing, if you will. Excuse me for 1 second here. If I go to the 5, which App 11 has consistently traded off that 5, did it again today, pulled back to the 144.14 was the low, and the 5 was 146.05. Trending higher, obviously, as the stock was up nearly 16% today. Not the highest close. It closed higher on June 4th, which was last Wednesday. It closed at 163.10. Today, the close at 162.10. But I showed you the comparison with eBay last week. I think, as long as that precedent analysis is in play, I'm going to go with it. Once that model is broken, though, you have to make a change, be nimble, be quick, and get out. But as long as that's in play, I think this thing goes a lot higher, like eBay did back in 1998. And I'm not going to go through that again. But that's the comparison that I have for CoreWeave. And I put it on the ready list because it did pull back to the 5 on Friday. Bounce today. I'm not going to put it on tomorrow because it's extended from that 5. It's 11% above the 5. So obviously the 5 is going to be higher tomorrow, but still, I wouldn't be buying it. If you're holding it, fine, but I wouldn't be buying it. I would be adding when it pulls back to that 5 once again. And the other one was NBIS. These guys had news today, um, partnering with NVIDIA, opening data centers in England. And yeah, just a nice move here, bounce off that, cup with handle here. I believe I had this on the ready list last week as it pulled back. Nice pop. Now it's getting extended though. There's your cup with handle and the move higher. Anyway, all right, that's it for all that. My, I just want to show you what I go through. And I talk to other traders that I respect and, are friendly with, and they kind of have some of the same stocks, and I don't want to copy them. So I kind of go different routes than they do. But, we're kind of seeing the same thing. And I just going through about 30, 35 of the stocks. I really had about 70. And this is why I'm bullish, because there's so many stocks set up. I don't know how many I included this morning on my Reddit list. I think it was about 12 or 13. I'm pretty sure ALAB was one of them. And this one just pulling back to its 21, just, after this move off the lows, digesting gains, going sideways. If we look at the weekly, yeah, this is flagging nicely here as it made that high 2 weeks ago. Last week, just kind of sideways, and today, it was up one point, nearly 2%. But yeah, very nice flagging action there on ALAB, Amazon. I believe I showed you this earlier. I don't know. I lose track. But anyway, classic cup with handle. Now I had this last week, and Meta was the one that broke out, so I continued this one. I think this is Amazon's week, up nearly 2% today. But you can see this is your classic textbook cup with handle type of pattern on a large cap tech stock. ASTS, I did mention this one earlier. This is on the radar. It's AU, a gold stock, set up nicely here. Yeah, it was only up 1% today, but you got to look at the weekly chart here. Just in this consolidation pattern, You could see those moving averages just trending higher. Another setup that I like, Dutch Bros. This is more of your classic cup with handle pattern. This is starting to get, to be an elongated type of handle. Last Wednesday, was it, or Thursday, it looked like it was going to break out, pull back to the five, and it's just grinding along the five, and it's going to break out when it wants to. It's going to move when it wants to. It's not going to move when we want it to. So, this is one I have for long-term hold. I really don't care if it breaks out or fails or whatever. Longer term, this one's going higher because we're taking market share, and it's going to be reflected in their earnings and sales growth. And GRR, the gorilla's back in town. Now, this is one where you don't just go out and buy right away. I mean, you got to keep things in perspective here. It was up 30% last week. And so you got to figure, I figured it would get back like 10%, right? Just a nice pullback. Yeah, it was up 31% last week. So a little bit of a pullback you would expect, and it was only down less than 2%. That looks like a short stroke pattern as it broke down above its downtrend line there in the weekly. This one I like quite a bit here. You can see the five trading through the 50, and now the 21's trending through the 50. And today was just a quiet inside day. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but this is not, you got to give it time to digest that 30% move last week, okay? And don't just go out and buy it right away and think it's just going to go up another 30%. I mean, it might, but probability, and we're dealing with probabilities here in the stock market. The probabilities are there's going to be some profit taking. There's going to, it's going to take some time, to, flag out around that 22 level before trending higher. But yeah, I like the looks of this one. Once again, super small cap, 411 million. So it's not for everybody. We're going to go to the other side of that small cap. We'll go to the larger cap here. This is IBM, Big Blue, 250 billion market cap. Just grinding away, just pushing away from its base. Up $3 today, or 1.25%. You can see here on the weekly chart, nice pattern there. IBM looks good to these old eyes. I like it. I mentioned OKLO earlier. This one's on the ready list. Nice. I screwed this one up last week. I was just a week early, and if you just put your thumb over this day like it didn't exist, you could see this nice bull wedge pattern. Yeah, that doesn't exist. We're just going to wipe that off. You do not exist. No, no. That day where I forget, everybody got excited and it just pulled back. But anyway, nice move today of 8% Oklo. I stuck with it. The group is a top five group. And yeah, rewarded today. Last week I had it, but they had the 1 billion secondary offering, which is a large offering. It just took some time to absorb. I think it's ready to move even higher. If you have calls, I think it takes out the old 59.14. Maybe next month 60 calls would work for that one. PANW, another textbook cup with handle pattern. Going to move when it wants to. It was down 1 2/3% today. Pull back, pulling back to that old buy point there of 195.42, and it just, hanging at the five there. Nothing wrong with that. Doing nothing wrong. These stocks are out of favor today. I could talk about the rotation earlier. There was a rotation out of these names. Even the mighty Zscaler pulled back 1% today, and CrowdStrike pulled back, and then Rubrik, my favorite in the group. This one needs the base here. I wouldn't be too alarmed. This thing ran from what, 47 to 100 something, 103. So yeah, it needs the base. It would probably, slice the 21 and just form a base here. And that's fine. That's what it needs to do to go forward here. It had this double bottom base here with the pivot at 76. So maybe it'll pull back to that area and just form another base. I don't know. Probably not a double bottom, maybe a flat base, maybe a wedge. I don't know, but yeah, it needs just some time. So I'm very high on this stock, but it just needs some time. And stocks that run like this, just like a sprinter, Usain Bolt, he needs to run and then he needs to rest for a little bit because you can't sprint forever. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. PRIM, a lot of stocks from a lot of different groups, and this is the building heavy construction group. Yeah, nice textbook cup with handle pattern on that one. I also like PWR, another one set up here. STRL, another one. I like a lot of these. AGX is the leader of this group. Whoa, this thing got hammered 10% today. Time to buy. Finally pulled back. Yeah, nice. So yeah, you in this type of market, you embrace pullbacks because we have a very strong uptrend. Okay, a couple other ones. TGTX, a drug stock. I like very much. This one, has a gap to fill here at 42.96, call it 43. I think it's going to do it rather sooner than later. It might just kind of stall out this week. It's still 2.9% above the five. So maybe it might go sideways and allow the five to catch up, but I think that 43 is that's a no-brainer. It's gonna close that gap there. So I like TGTX, CRSP, keeping it in the drug sector, the drug section. This is more speculative than TGTX, but another small cap, that looks pretty darn good to me. And it popped. It didn't pop today. It popped Friday, so it was up on volume. Still below the 200, but I like the moving averages, the 5 and the 21 trading through the 50. This thing's trending higher. So CRSP, I like a lot. A REIT, I never put REITs on, but this is one that, I kind of like here, trading through the moving averages here, the 5 going through the 200. So that's what I mean. There's a lot of different stocks and a lot of different areas that I like that are looking good. I already showed you that one. Here's an insurance stock, Lemonade. This has got the profile, right? Moving averages, the 5, the 21, the 50, trending higher. This one bounced off the 5 Friday. Nice, nearly 3% move today for Lemonade, so I'm not going to put that one on tomorrow. QUBT, I showed you that one earlier. I like that setup. CRNC, there's another stock from another, computer software group. 1050 an area of interest, but you can see the shorter term moving averages trending, through the 50. So yeah, just a lot of these names that look good to me. NBIS, I showed you this one earlier. I'm going to move on. APGE, inside day today, down 2% and inside, but I'm going to keep my eye on that one. That could show up on our ready list. Later in the week, ACHR, I showed you that one. That one, okay. We're going to move on. Roku. So another group, this is one of the top groups here. Netflix, Roku, Fubo, leisure and movies related. This one I didn't put on the ready list today, but I like it. It's got that shorter term moving averages trending through the longer term moving averages. You got the hammer candle on Friday and comes and pops today. 1.5%. Good for Roku. RDW, going back to your aerospace and defense. Wow, popped 8% today. I won't be putting that on. That's extended 11.5% above its 50, so that one needs to calm down. But the point is, there's just a lot of these stocks that are looking good. ETOR. Now, I mentioned this one this morning in my report, up 10%. It's got the standard buy point there at 74, and it blew right through it. It had initiated coverage from 15 different Wall Street groups today, so they like it. I haven't really, studied this one that much. Yeah, it's too early. It just got rolling here, so it doesn't have much of a trading history. But this one could end up being something like a core weave. The way it's starting out, you got to keep an open mind here on eToro. MTZ, this is another one from that construction group, classic cup with handle pattern. So I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I like, even in the shipping group, Star Bulk. I know it's below the 200, but this thing's trending higher, and this one that I'm watching, not ready for prime time yet, but one that I am watching. Uber, a slower mover, not a stock that I'm really fond of, but if it wants to rally, I'll put this thing back on at 87. It's right there at 87.12. So another one that I like, BAND, the bandwidth. I know it's below the 200, but the shorter term moving average is traded through the 50s. So yeah, I'm kind of liking bandwidth too. EAT, Brinker International. This is your classic cup. Needs to handle out here. A few more days of sideways action. That one could appear on our ready list, INOD. This is in there with Dave and Sezzle. These things are super hot. Yeah, wow. This thing ended up, it was down today. Jeez. This thing won't go down. Tom Petty stock, it was down most of the day. I started way down, gave up down to 126, close at 132. Buyers coming in at the close, and then Dave is another one in this group. Man, these things just won't back down. But, those it's kind of like chasing. I don't want to chase performance. So INOD is in this group. Not looking too bad here. Inside day today, down 5%. It was inside. So it's definitely one that I am watching. Elf, I had Elf on the ready list last week. I'm not sure if I had it this week again, but I like Elf. Just that, this big move, sideways action, inside last week, just a quiet day today. Let it do this for, two, three, four, five more sessions. And eventually the buyers are going to come in and buy this one. They're going to take another nibble of that one. Reddit, another one that I like. It was down today, but and one of my friends said they were shaking out here when it was down 5%. And all it did was pull back to its five. That's not a reason to sell. It's just an inside day. I know it closed at the lows, and the next day it popped 8%. That was Friday. It's below the 200. I get it. But all it did today was what did it do? It pulled back to the five, just like last Thursday. So these are days to buy, not sell, in my opinion. And so I still like Reddit. Even below the 200, I think it's going to blow right through there and get back up to that 130 level. All right, Reddit. So we're seeing just a lot of different stocks from a lot of different groups. This is PSIX. This one's starting to get away from us, looking pretty good. And then, oh, another one of these large cap, slower movers, Caterpillar, having trouble with the 200 today, but I like it there, 355.33. That one looks good. Silicon Laboratories. Yep, semiconductor fabless, your classic cup with handle. Boom, up nearly 7% today. I didn't put it on, but this is this is the dilemma I go over every week. And should I put this one on or not? Semiconductors out of favor, rotation into other groups. So I kind of dissed it today, but man, so this is the stuff that keeps me up at night. Like I should have had this one on my ready list, but I didn't. And I can't put 60 stocks on there. It's just too confusing, and it's just too many charts to go through. OPFI, I don't think I showed this one already, did I? Yeah, this one is trending nicely along the five as well. That's a software financial name. What else do I have? Oh, Palantir. Not sure if I put this one on the ready list. This is your classic cup with handle. Now the handle is becoming a little elongated. Yeah, I like it there, 133.49. If it gets above there, go time. Hims and hers. This one is just a finicky. Yeah, if you just like I say, take that little day out there. It looks like a little wedge pattern. This day does not exist, and so you just go here in this little, kind of wedge, eh, like that, flag wedge, whatever you want to call it. Hims looks okay. I didn't put it on. I'm not a real big fan. It's got too many eyeballs on it, too much hair. And then AMD, my last one, another semiconductor name, 122.50. I like it right there. It pulled up to that level. That to me is just like a short little, flat base. It wants to trade above it, fine. You could see the 5, the 21, the 50 trending higher. I know it's below the 200. We're going to pretend like this line doesn't exist also. No, the 200 doesn't exist. I know that the people who program the algorithms know that that's there, and that's an issue. That's resistance. That's a problem. But once it gets through that level, I kind of like AMD here. I didn't put it on my ready list today, but I do like it. 3.3% above the five, and it's now, only 2.7% below that 200. I think it blew through there in a day. It was up nearly 5% today. So a lot of stuff going on. You could see my issues with so many stocks set up in bases, so many stocks ready to move. Very difficult to choose 8 or 10. But I think it's overall bullish for the market. We don't know where the money's going to rotate to tomorrow, but it's a healthy rotation that just keeps moving from one sector to another. And if you were out of favor today, and with your stocks, you might be in favor tomorrow. So you know you never give up. All right, that's it for me, except for in honor of the great Steve Jobs. I do have one more thing, actually a couple more things. We stay hungry, we stay foolish, we stay humble. And in honor of the great Steve Jobs, we're gonna light things up with the solar sector. This solar sector has been like the drug sector, the XBI and TAN have just been beaten up so bad that they look like they're bottoming to me. TAN made a bottom there at 25, had a higher low at 30. I know it's below the 200, but there are some stocks perking up in the solar group, and this is definitely not my area of expertise, bottom fishing, but this is like the leader I would consider of the solar group, and this is NXT, and it's surfing its five here. So, I missed this one, big gap higher, pull back, but definitely it's one that I'm watching. If I'm going to buy a solar stock, it's going to be that one. A couple other ones looking okay, not, above the moving averages, and you can see the 5 and the 21 are trending above this longer term moving averages. This is Solar Edge. It looks okay. But anyway, just wanted to point that out. And then tomorrow we have earnings. ASO, Academy Sports reports in the morning. I'm hoping they have a solid report. Retail's been really hit and miss, more miss than hit too. United Natural Foods will report in the morning as well. It's sliced its 50 today with volume. Watch it have a good report and rally back through. It's got this cup with handle pattern. That wouldn't surprise me tomorrow. Little caution ahead of the report. And then Smucker's, the jam makers, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Who doesn't like those? Come on. They report in the morning. And then tomorrow afternoon, we've got the all-time meme stock GameStop reports. Man, that looks pretty good there. Double bottom base. Right, yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with GameStop tomorrow. That looks like a nice setup. And then GTLB GitLab reports tomorrow afternoon, and then Dave and Buster's reports. Have anybody been playing at Play? We'll hear from that group. The retail restaurant's been hit and miss. I did see the Cracker Barrel had a nice move today. Another one, cup with handle, and there's your breakout. This is what I'm talking about. They're going to move when they want to move, not when you want them to. Like a lot of people probably gave up on this because there's your cup with handle, and then it had this fake breakout, right? Looked like it was going to break out. It pulled back, undercut its 21, and now it says I want to go. Okay, so. They're going to move when they want to move. And it kind of reminds me of Bros, where it's got this nice cup with handle, had this fake breakout, just kind of trading back. You'll probably see another shakeout down to the 21 before it takes out 80 here. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. But I am looking forward to hearing from Play. And anyway, this time, that's it for real. At mcstockcharts.com, we never give up. Thank you for watching.